It's about that time of year again where January rolls around and the anime season for 2023 has ended. So a bunch of awards and voting and things kind of go on as multiple people like Anime Trending and Crunchyroll and whoever else it is likes to hold award shows, and many people start creating tier lists and doing things based on just how they feel about a whole bunch of things that they've watched and seen throughout the previous year. And that stuff kind of gets me excited. I've always been really into that, like when it just comes to voting or creating lists or kind of just the general discussion I think that comes about it. And while I don't agree with everybody, and I don't expect people to kind of agree with me and my thoughts and opinions on things, I've always just thought it'd be fun to kind of have some sort of platform or thing where I can kind of at least voice my thoughts and have maybe a little discussion going on with people about why they feel certain ways about things, or maybe why they don't, or they agree or disagree with my takes, and just kind of put that out there and maybe show some love to things that maybe not as many people have seen, or even if they have, just also show extra love to things that are really deserving of what they actually were kind of nominated for. And I think that this is the perfect opportunity for us to do that. I'm going to be doing Anime Trending today and their award show. They usually do a very good job, I'd say, at kind of diversifying the amount of different things that are nominated in different categories and things along those lines. So I think that they're usually the better kind of award show, I guess, for us to go along with here, and it gives me a better way of kind of talking about each of these different things. We'll be doing Crunchyroll at some point. I'm probably going to do it right after this one, but that'll also be up if you want to end up seeing how you feel about those. Link in the description if you want to vote on this as well. I'll also leave timestamps to every single different award that I'm kind of voting on, so you can hear my thoughts and opinions on each thing from there. A few things to note about the way that they kind of do things and the way I'm going to be doing things here, real quick, is that everything that aired from fall 2023 into the winter season of 2024 will not be on here. So things like Freer and Apothecary Diaries, other things that we're watching like on the channel like that right now, will not be nominated or be on here for anything. They get nominated, their nominations carried over into the year after. It's a way to kind of eliminate, I guess, like the bias of like recency on some things in some sort of way, but also because they're not fully completed, and some shows have great core ones and kind of train wrecks for core two, so they shouldn't be on here. So also, if you see things from previous years that were on here, like something like Eminence and Shadow is going to be on here, and it had 2 seasons already now, but season 1 did carry over, and I don't think finished until like February or something of the previous year. So it just, like, things like that get carried over. So we're just going to kind of have to go along with that, and some of those are going to make things on here. I also have not seen everything on here. I'll talk about things that I have and haven't seen, give some thoughts as we kind of go along. Let's get started though with the genre awards, and the first one is going to be action or adventure anime of the year. Have not seen all of these, not Bungo Stray Dogs or Magical Revolution of Reincarnated Princess, and then a couple of them I still haven't finished, as you would know if you've watched some of the reactions to this on the channel with Spy Family, Eminence, and Zom 100. We are very close to the end of some of them, but not necessarily done. All the other ones I have seen. With this category, or the genre specifically though, it's interesting, I guess, how you want to vote for it, because you can vote for it specifically of what do you think is the best show that you've watched on here that just falls into that category, or you can take action or adventure as 2 separate character or categories specifically, and then kind of just place them and be like, which one did each of these specific sections better. Well, something like Spy Family might have better comedy than when it comes to, I don't know, something like JJK, right? But JJK definitely has better action in comparison, you know? So it's, are you voting specifically for this genre award, or are you just going to vote for the thing that you think is better? We're going to go by the genre. I think last year the way that I did them was just followed my order and voted on the ones that I liked the most out of it. But I think that we should just do the genre specifically, because it gives recognition to everything within that genre, and then everything overall will end up being thing like anime of the year that'll end up winning just like the award when it comes to that. When it comes to action or adventure, I think specifically 2 of these really do stand out to me, and that's going to be Heavenly Delusions, because the adventure that we literally go on is absolutely insane, and Jujutsu Kaisen season 2, just because the action once again is absolutely insane. While I didn't necessarily love that season and everything that I had to offer as much as everyone else kind of did, I think not appreciating what the staff involved who worked on each of these episodes at Mappa ended up doing, especially under the time constraints and everything that they had to work with, and ended up creating visually one of the most appealing and amazing sequences of action that we've been able to see throughout the entire season so far. of this year, I think that it deserves a little bit of, praise and recognition there. And I don't think that that's too unpopular of an opinion in any sort of way. When it comes to comedy, I've seen every one of these while not actually finishing any of them. Mashal is one I did not finish at all. The comedy style just doesn't mesh with me and doesn't do anything for me, and I just find it really unfunny as a result, unfortunately. So was not able to finish that. And Onimai is another one I did not finish. Well, I did not have any hate towards it. I just didn't really enjoy it too much and didn't really feel like there was much that I could pull out of it or was too interested in continuing with it for. So we kind of end up stopping there. But in terms of like comedy and the things that I think about, like what did I laugh the most kind of watching this year and what have I enjoyed the most as a result, are two things that we did on the channel. So I think that you can tell if you watched any of them how much I really did enjoy them by the, the laughs and everything I had, which will be 100 Girlfriends and Tomo-chan is a Girl. Very different, I would say, for the comedy, but they both do them extremely well. Tomo does an excellent job with the side characters, kind of carrying extremely heavy on the comedy end, while 100 Girlfriends is just so like over the top, also so like self-aware of itself, and it's able to utilize that in a positive way and create something that I think was really, really enjoyable. Drama of the year is when I start seeing a lot again that I have not been able to watch. Overtake on the plan to watch, haven't gotten around to it. Shy on the plan to watch, haven't gotten around to it. Undead Murder Farce also haven't gotten around to it. Ancient Mag is where I just haven't been able to even start the series in general. But the rest have seen a couple of them, actually most of them on this channel, except for Buddy Daddies, which I ended up not doing on this channel, but I absolutely loved in itself. I think that they all do a really good job at presenting certain drama in different ways. And I think that they all deserve recognition for different sort of reasons at that. I think that the first one that's pretty obvious, specifically when you look at like the drama of it, is Oshinoko, that deserves to be here. I mean, I don't really know if there's much more I could, like if there's really anything I could say. If you've seen it, you're well aware of the drama elements that kind of come along with it and how they kind of elevate the story to something else entirely and make it so special. That made me fall in love with it when I first started reading the manga a couple of years ago. It's very special and I absolutely love it. Secondly, I'm going to go for Vinland Saga Season 2. I think that it just creates a different emotional experience than mainly everything else here. And it's, oh wow, it's very special. I think My Happy Marriage is a very close other one and deserves to at least be in consideration and contention for this. But I don't know, it just doesn't feel as right as putting something like Vinland Saga and giving that the recognition that I feel like it kind of deserves. Fantasy wise, there's a bunch here I haven't seen. I gotta be honest. I've seen less than what is presented actually on here. So it makes it a little bit harder to kind of present and vote for things here. We're looking at fantasy and the elements and all that that's kind of presented. It makes it also hard because I don't think any of these do necessarily a great job at creating like worlds like that. I don't have anything too much, I think, really to add to this category. I'm just going to say Mushoku Tensei Season 2 and Eminence in Shadow. I've only also seen that and actually completed 7 Spellblades and Konosuba, and I didn't particularly enjoy either of them, so I just don't feel necessarily as right voting for either of them in this and giving them any recognition for things, I'll be honest with you. So I'm just going to go for the other two and we're going to kind of move along there. Music anime, unfortunately going to have to skip. Have not watched any of these this year. While I do have a couple of them on plan to watch, just haven't had a lot of time to really get around to it, unfortunately. Mystery and psychological becomes extremely easy for me because I've only seen 2 of the ones that are on here. I did watch Liar Liar. I watched 1 episode, did not enjoy it at all. So these 2 are the only ones that I will end up voting for in this situation. But to be fair, they do each do a really good job. Heavenly Delusions does an excellent job going into mystery, but also having psychological elements into it, especially the mystery for it, though, of you not understanding, I guess, initially right away, the timeline that you're in, what each of the characters' motives are, how things kind of came about to be, how things are related or correlated, and there's so many other, like, things that are kind of mixed in there that I can't go into without necessarily spoiling them, that make it so intriguing and make you want to have that second season now so much more. And Oshinoko went so heavy into the psychological side of things, of people being affected by the industry that they're in and through social media, and just kind of having to be performers and whatever else kind of came along with it, as well as, you know, mystery of having to find certain people or figure out certain things and uncover different situations. And I think that both of them actually would fit rather well here. Our next category is romance. This is something that I listen, or I watch a lot, right? We do a lot of that on this channel here. That's why it makes it all the more difficult. I'm a bit more lenient a lot of times. I feel like when it comes to romance, I find just myself enjoying things a lot. I don't necessarily complain or have as much that I dislike about certain series and the way that things are presented. I've seen them all, but our two on the bottom here, so unfortunately neither of those can kind of get any sort of recognition. And The Girl I Like Who Forgot Her Glasses, I was not able to finish just because I found myself not really enjoying other elements, not necessarily the romance portion of it, but mixture of comedy and Gohan's kind of trying to go a little bit too far out the box, made me not necessarily love the series as much. We also have like a pretty even split that I think that should be recognized between shows where the characters are kind of together already, and then you just kind of see how they progress, versus characters who are not, and you're seeing them kind of become one and become a lot closer together, which I think is really fun to think about. I don't know how much that weighs on my decision or my thoughts or anything on this. And I really don't know, the more I think about it, which one I would want to vote for. I think I would just have to go for the ones that I like the pairing and the couple within them the most, because that would allow me to really, I don't know, just fall in love with the the show and the romance elements and everything kind of involved a little bit more. I think the first one's Insomniacs After School. I think that show is so special between our main two, and how each of them just kind of find like the safe space within each other and are able to kind of connect and be friends with each other first, and us being able to see the development there, but the excitement that they also get just kind of being around each other. And I think that that is such a cute one, but also so nice, like to peek into, I guess, kind of their minds, and two people who are very different but at the same time similar and the same, and are able to find that within each other. I think the only other duo that I can like say that made me like absolutely love the romance involved in it, or any like little gestures and things that kind of went along in it, would have to be for My Happy Marriage. Well, I think that it took a little bit of a nosedive towards the back end and was kind of a little bit scattered in places that I didn't necessarily love down the stretch. And I may have enjoyed other series like 100 Girlfriends or My Love Story with Yamada a little bit more. There's just something about these two that I actually really enjoyed. Each of them is individual characters, and also us being able to see just how happy each of them kind of are when they're around each other. That made me kind of really, really love that. This is one where I expect things like The Dangers in My Heart and Angel Next Door to like really kind of be popular in this category and probably end up winning these things. But for me personally, didn't love the Megas as much as everybody else did. Angel Next Door, I had, I don't know, some issues, but a lot of people seem to think that the issues that I more so had came down to the way that things were kind of translated from novel into anime form, and also just the studio kind of going about and skipping over some things or kind of speeding through some things. And Dangers in My Heart is one that I really enjoyed, but I think took a little bit to get there, as I think half of the series was kind of a little bit of a mess. And took a little bit before the second half really took off and became something very, very, very good. But at the end of the day, I'm not really sold on either of the characters and didn't actually love them too much, and kind of want to see a little bit more from that, which I'm assuming we'll be able to get within this second season. So the second season will probably be a little bit more of a hit when it comes to that, and will probably be something on my radar going into the next year for something like this award, depending on how it gets developed and everything, I guess. So we'll have to wait and see. But that's kind of where my thoughts and expectations on that would end up being. Sci-fi or Mecha Anime of the Year. I have not watched Arknights at all, or Buster. I've literally never even heard of that, so I didn't even know that was a thing. I watched one episode of Marginal Service, did not like it at all, and had to drop that. And then the Gene of AI, I watched 2 episodes of. I thought it was okay. I didn't particularly love it or like it, and also just kind of lost a lot of interest in it at that point. So that leaves us with our other 3 to be able to be on here. Although I am into the New World on Dr. Stone, and I finished the first core, I haven't gotten around to the second one yet. I don't particularly love the series too much, and a lot of the things that are presented. And if we're just looking at things like sci-fi and Mecha specifically, I just really like the idea of going for Mobile Suit Gundam and Heavenly Delusions a lot more here in this. And I think that each of them kind of deserve recognition. Wish from Mercury season 2 was very special, like very, very good. And I think if the back end, the last couple episodes were a little bit different or had gone a little bit of a different way, and they almost are presented in a way that I feel like wasn't intentional from the very beginning, or the idea that was drawn up at first, and they kind of changed pace. I could be wrong on that, and that just might not be true. That's something that we'll probably never actually know, but I feel like it was a little bit more rushed than it needed to be, and they could have really expanded and developed into another season, which we probably won't end up getting, which kind of killed it a little bit towards the end. But everything that built up for the first like 8 to 9 episodes of it was so good, and I absolutely loved. And same thing, just Heavenly Delusions, and I can't praise that series enough. Slice of life is another genre that I go really heavy into and end up watching a lot of. Only two that I haven't seen is Saint's Magic Power and Masterful Cat. I have seen all the other ones. Unfortunately, dropped the Ice Guy and his cool female colleague after only one episode. I think it's more of something that suited and fitted a little bit better for manga format, so I'm gonna probably just end up reading it if I'm interested at any other time. So I won't really give it too much recognition for that. In terms of just like slice of life and your day-to-day life and everything here that we're gonna go with, I think Insomniacs and Skip and Loafer are both two that deserve tons of recognition for this. I think something like Horimiya does a good job as well. And same thing with, I guess, Buddy Daddies and even Spy Family and Angel Next Door. They all actually do an excellent job. Even Tomo, they all actually do a really good job at kind of capturing that feeling. And it just almost comes down to the one that you prefer or enjoyed the most. And I think that these two, just when I think of slice of life and somebody were to kind of recommend something that fits a little bit more into that genre, these are probably two things that I would recommend over all the others, especially if the person's into like romance or just whatever else that they're kind of into. These would be two that I think I would recommend a ton more. It deserves some sort of recognition there. Sports anime, I'm not really into a lot of sports anime. Haven't really watched a lot. I do plan to watch MF Ghost and Overtake at some point, just like I said, haven't gotten around to it. And I watched Blue Lock last year, but I really did not enjoy it too much, with the excessive use of CG that was just not needed. Also, it was just really ugly when they did use it, and it's something I think I would enjoy a little bit more in manga, not a little bit more, a ton more in the manga form, and it just didn't really translate to the anime, and it kind of felt a little bit cringe. I always don't really like sports anime because of reasons like that, the ones that I've seen at least, because they just seem like they're so, I don't know, they present sports in a way that it doesn't actually play out in real life for the most part, and a lot of characters aren't. And even in Blue Lock, in a series like this where a lot of people tried giving it like the crown of being like a lot more like edgy and like ramped up, to me it just isn't at all, and it just kind of comes off a little bit corny and cringe, and I'm not a fan of it. It just, I don't know, the dialogue and the way the characters think and say things just don't really work for me, and I don't love it that much. I haven't watched the other two, so we're not going to be able to talk about those too much, so we're gonna have to end up skipping this, unfortunately. I never actually have seen like a racing one though, or anything that involves that, so that's why I feel like MF Ghost and Overtake might be fun to actually go along and watch. So maybe I'll get around to those, or hopefully I do get around to those at some other point. And I think that would be very good. In terms of Supernatural, with another group of things that I haven't really seen for the most part, we're just going to end up going with JJK Season 2 and Heavenly Delusions again. I think similar to the action adventure one. Actually, it might be exactly the same. I'm assuming these are two of the most popular ones that end up getting voted for here. I think in terms of Supernatural and everything, something like My Happy Marriage has some stuff, and so does Hell's Paradise. Hell's Paradise I wasn't a fan of at all. You would know if you ended up watching any of those reactions, which I did way too many of, because I knew by a certain episode I wasn't going to keep liking it. I just kept doing it, and it became a little bit suffering at some point. But I think JJK and Heavenly Delusions are a great Supernatural series. Next, we move into the Aspect Awards. Best Adapted Screenplay is a little bit difficult to do. As somebody who hasn't read the mangas of a lot of these different series, I view Best Adapted Screenplay, and maybe my understanding of what it actually is a little bit wrong, is something that kind of just allows you to adapt what is involved within the manga and bring it to life in something that's a little bit more special or ramped up, in an experience almost that you can't necessarily get from reading the manga. Typically, shows that are animated extremely beautifully, or have excellent color palettes, or just have great voice acting, or the action sequences and, you know, anime original things, or just decisions that are made really ramp that up and make it unique and special, and I think kind of deserve a lot of praise and recognition and things for that. It's difficult, like I said, for me to do this just due to the fact that I haven't actually read source material for a lot of these things. But from the ones that I was able to watch, at least, and the way that I would just feel after watching it, makes me think like I don't think I'd be able to get this experience had I actually read the source in any sort of way. Actually comes from Heavenly Delusions, which I think went above and beyond in overall just character acting and animation, and kind of bringing them to life, and just the absurdity with the comedy and everything. But it was just animated so excellently in a way that I don't know if the art and everything can kind of keep up and make it as special, almost as it was. And while I absolutely love other series like Finland Saga, and I think the voice acting in that series and the whole cast for that went above and beyond and created something special, in a lot of those moments. And same thing with like Oshinoko, I think had certain moments, as somebody who actually has read the manga and was able to see certain scenes kind of come to life and be unique and special in different ways. I think JJK deserves a more recognition for this, with a lot of the different action sequences that were very spectacular and extremely difficult for them to kind of pull off things that you wouldn't typically see within a lot of series here. I haven't read that arc or anything within the manga, but as somebody who has read the first half of it and was aware of, you know, how they went above and beyond and were able to adapt the first half, I'm only assuming that they made it extremely special and a lot better than it kind of was presented there. And exactly similar enough to what we just talked about when it comes to best in animation, the exact same two are going to get my awards for that. JJK taking on a different approach with having a new director and everyone involved, where the character designs and everything aren't exactly the same. They're a little bit different due to new director or just new, I don't know if there's a new character designer or whoever was involved, but they take the choice of kind of making things a little bit more simplistic in the way that they're approached and looked, and it kind of allows you to be a bit more expressive and creative with the way that they go about things. Heavenly Delusions, as I literally just mentioned, with the character animation itself, and really just bringing a lot of things to life within it, was something really, really special. Usually something like Demon Slayer wins this, or because they went above and beyond in the first 2 seasons of it, but this arc specifically was a little bit underwhelming, which was a little bit sad to see. I think recognition to things like Zom 100 is also there, and is excellent to be able to see that even on here, and I'm very happy about that because I thought that that show was done extremely well. Same thing with Trigun Stampede was extremely well done by Studio Orange, but it's a little bit hard for me personally to give that the award over something else like these two. I don't know why. It's just something internally that doesn't hit the same for me on that. In terms of character design, I'm gonna go Oshinoko easy at the beginning here. I think every character is designed in very special ways within this show. The eyes of all the characters are very special, very unique style to kind of choose about the colors and the way that they looked, whether they use different colors that I guess you're not necessarily as used to, and the type of green that like we had with Frill and her eyes, and the way that she kind of looked with having like almost like snake-like or cat-like eyes, and then having somebody like Minami who's just straight pink on pink, but also just all the other main characters themselves like Kana and Aqua, like Mem and the different modes that she can kind of go into, and the way that she's kind of designed herself. But just, I don't know, every character on there was so special with the way that their appearance kind of immediately can give off the vibe of who they're kind of going to be or how they're going to kind of act, but at the same time making them like appealing and unique at the same time, I think is an excellent thing. 100 Girlfriends Who Really Love You is going to be my second one, being able to take all these different tropes and these different character types, and then just kind of ramp them up and figure out the maximized, like, I guess, design when it comes to it. I think is such a excellent thing that they were able to do. And despite me not liking the series as much, I think Hell's Paradise is something that deserves at least recognition on that. I think a lot of the characters are designed very well and unique within that series, and at least should be talked about. If it's got one thing going for it, it's definitely that. In terms of best original screenplay, I've seen about half of these. High Card I thought was very good, actually. And it was just a very fun experience to kind of go on, and I think that they changed the direction a little bit towards the back end than what I was expecting, but it still made me really enjoy it, and I'm excited to get into season 2, but I don't think it's the best that we really have to offer here. I've also seen 16-Bit Sensation, which was fun. It's a really ugly show, but it's not the worst thing I've ever seen. It's kind of a mess, but at the same time, it's just a fun little thing that you can kind of just turn your brain off to and end up watching. The main two here, though, that we're going to end up going with is Buddy Daddies, which I think is fantastic. Probably falls within like the top 10 shows or things that I ended up watching this year. I think they actually take like Spy Family and actually focus a little bit more and actually have like something that they're trying to say and convey here, and it works out pretty well. The other one, as I praised already earlier, is the second season or second core of Witch from Merc. I think this core stepped it up and was definitely significantly better from the first one. It explained a lot of things. It brought back to a little bit more of the core with Gundam itself, involving us heavy into a lot of different fights, but also the politics and things that are kind of mixed into it. I don't know. I think that it did a great job. It really, I guess, tying together a lot of stuff that they presented within the first core. And while the first core of it was a little bit slower paced until the back end of it, I don't know. I think they just did an excellent job, and it makes me really miss and kind of want to go back and watch it. When it comes to sceneries and visuals, this one I'm having a tough time. I think Heavenly Delusion's the easiest one for me to do based on just the adventure and the amount of different areas and things that we kind of go to, and how each of them look significantly special to me. I think there's a bunch of shows here that deserve at least some sort of recognition, like My Happy Marriage or Zom 100, and I think definitely did a great job just creating like special environments for us to kind of be in. But I think I'm going to go Vinland Saga on this. I think the overall maybe wasn't as quality as season one ended up coming out to be in terms of just animation and everything. I think was a little bit off, just not to the same levels, but I think just the amount of detail that they were able to go into when it comes to like the hands and the nails that they were showing and the lips and just certain things that you're usually not used to, and even a lot of the backgrounds being able to show off like the fields at different moments and overall nature and things that we were just kind of surrounded by for the majority of the season. I think that they really nailed a lot of that and really immersed you within the environment that you're kind of in. In terms of soundtrack, Vinland Saga is the easiest one for me to pick here. Overall, opening, ending songs for both cores are absolutely phenomenal and elevate every episode as you're getting into them and as you're leaving them. The amount of different piano that we were using within the actual series, and every single one being so special, and actually elevating every single scene for different reasons and creating something so, it was, I don't know, it's so good just thinking back on a lot of it. And then the other one we're going to go with the Spy Family for the second season. While I haven't finished it, a lot of what you're going to get is presented within the OP and the ED of it, and also the sounds and things that you're going to hear within the episodes early on. And I think that that's enough for me to specifically be like, this is something that I want to end up voting for. As a lot of the other ones, I don't think have things that I can recall that necessarily stood out as special to me, unfortunately, so we're just going to go with that. In terms of voice cast, once again, Vinland Saga, easy vote. Every single character, Arne specifically went above and beyond and actually elevated her character to something else. I think Thorfinn went above and beyond as well, and was able to really bring out something special out of his character, really, too, that I felt like we didn't have throughout the first season. And just every character, I think like that's what made the experience of it so great, is while a lot of like the fighting and things that we get to see maybe wasn't as quality as we ended up having within the first season, and some of the other, just even like the backgrounds and things, while I still voted for all that stuff before, maybe the quality of it all wasn't as high as we previously had. I think that the cast went really to the next level and pushed themselves to something else that deserves this sort of recognition here. The second one is going to be Tomo-chan as a girl that gets the vote here. Every character was so over the top and extra and just special with the way that they did things. Tomo with Ri Takahashi being so just incredible with her range that she was able to kind of bring out, and the I guess energy that she was able to bring out with Tomo, I thought was fantastic. Sally being able to bring out just the pure chaotic nature, I guess, in a way of Carol was something great. And also just to note that she was the English and Japanese VA of her, I think is so special. And even just characters like Misasu are able to be brought out to another level of not having to go above and beyond and create like these emotional things or like overly serious and like give like these passionate performances in ways, but just being able to nail the character type that they actually have to kind of present. I think that all of them really took what was in the source and just made it stand out even more when it was actually adapted. This one's hard. Best in episode directing and storyboard is a very hard thing to sit around and pick out. Every episode I love for different reasons. That I'm really looking at here. Episode 8 of Heavenly Delusions, easily the best episode of the series. Just so much emotion kind of packed into that. It makes me really want to go for it. The fight sequence in JJK Season 2, Episode 13 was arguably my favorite one. throughout the whole thing, which I think might be unpopular. So I'm kind of surprised to see it presented here. Maybe it isn't. Maybe I'm just, for whatever reason, thinking that it is. Ego Surfing with Oshinoko episode 6 was so special, especially being able to bring Akane into that special dreamlike state that they have, and the snap that they had of her kind of facing the reality in front of her at the moment, and also just like the shared noise and panic and everything that was going on, and you kind of feeling like the buzzing and the internalness that she had. The Oath in Vinland Saga season 2 episode 9, absolute experience to kind of go through and see, especially being dragged down into such a hell-like place and having to see Thorfinn kind of come to his realizations and try and find all those things that he's been missing for so long and he may have forgotten about. And just also Zom 100 episode 1 of using the flashbacks and the aspect ratios to kind of display everything that they are as flashbacks, but also put you in this different state, snap you out of like the video game or the movie or whatever it was that he was watching at the beginning. The use of color that was able to be splashed in and displayed, it was all so special and different. And I think that's easily going to be one that I end up voting for. I think the first episode of that was directed and just presented in a way that is so special and so important for them to nail and hit every single thing, and they absolutely did. It's so hard for me to pick another one. I think I have to go episode 6 of Oshinoko just for the like impact and the like emotional like connection and everything I felt like I kind of have with that episode, and the way that it makes me just overall feel. I think, and also just being something I was anticipating for so long as a manga reader, and wanting to see how that was adapted, and especially how the reception of it overall was going to end up being. And I think it was just nailed at a complete different level, and it got people, so many people talking throughout all inner circles on social media, and I think is so special. A lot of the other ones, if I didn't mention them for this, just haven't seen them, unfortunately. Next up, we move into our characters and our character awards. Boy of the Year will be our first one. There's a ton of different options, it kind of looks like here. First up, I just don't know how you can't vote for Rentaro. He's absolutely the GOAT, right? You know, it's every man's dream is to be him, right? I don't know. I absolutely love him. And he was such a fun character. One of the very few, if the only one, of harem MCs that I actually found myself enjoying and absolutely loving. And he was literally the definition of like perfection. You can't write a character that's like a better fit for anyone in like a romantic sense. It feels like he does absolutely everything that's necessary. And he's just, I love him. It's hard for me to vote for 2 for the second one. I just don't know who I'd vote for. I love Kyoka from My Happy Marriage. I actually really just loved this character a lot, and I remember I talked about that a lot throughout the season, and how enjoyable he kind of was for me, and the things I liked about him. Thorfinn, I love him, absolutely. But I almost feel wrong voting for them for some reason. Like something's just off. I feel like it's got to be between Kazuki and Rei from Buddy Daddies. I think each of them just like, well, they're men. They're not necessarily boys. Look, Kazuki's a man, but if we're being honest, Ray's kind of not. We may have to go with Ray. Ray's like, I love that guy. He's so good. Dude was like so set in his ways of being who he was as a person, being able to be dragged out by this person that kind of came into his life, and this kid, and having him like also have this development by the back end of the series that I absolutely love too. And it makes you feel for him, or like wanting to see him kind of involved in the way that he was just acting towards her. I don't know, I like him so much. This is a very hard one for me to go between and look at. So many deserving characters here, and even in series like Hell's Paradise, which I don't like, Gabimara is a great character for them to kind of go into, and for him to be somebody that we look at. And Miyamura from Horimiya is great as well. I love Aqua. I love, like, all these characters are great. It's just very difficult, especially when they only narrow you down to 2. Our nominations for Girl of the Year. Once again, I can't believe that they only give us 2. Finding 2, I feel like it might be a little easier this year than it was previous year. First, it's Kana from Oshinoko. Kana's literally my favorite character, like, ever. She's tied with Elena from Wandering Witch, if you've ever seen that. If I got anybody else who absolutely loves Elena like I do. Them 2 are my 1 and 2. Just favorite characters, and also best girls. I absolutely love them. Also, I literally have Kana next to me here. So she's been next to me for however long now. Like, I think it's pretty obvious my absolute love for her as a character. The second one's so hard because we can go into, like, I absolutely like love Shizuka, right? Like, we can go into that. just for like her design and the way that she acts and everything, right? I love Karane so much. I'm a big Tsundere guy and everything. I love Mizusu. Like, so fantastic of just like different characters I love. But I feel like Mitsumi needs to win those. I feel like Mitsumi needs the recognition that she deserves. I don't even know if I can form the right words to describe how great of a character she is, and just how much when you watch her you want to protect her, but also watch her and just see all the things that she's able to go out of her way and succeed and do, and the experiences that she's like striving to kind of see and go after, and you want her, like you're rooting actively for her, which is not something I can say I do for like a ton of characters. I just kind of let the shows progress, but like her, I really want to see everything that she wants, like I want her to get. And being able to like have a character like that, I feel like she deserves it. It absolutely does. I'm not mad with like a lot of these picks. I don't think there's any characters I just did not like on here. Yeah, I don't think there's like any that I didn't like. Except Chizuru. I can't understand the love for her. Like everyone thinks that she's so good within this series. I just do not understand it. As the more I go into the shit that is Rent a Girlfriend, the more like I'm seeing things that I'm just like, why do people like her so much? She's not like this perfect being that they tried to make her out to be, especially when it first aired. I just do not understand it. I think Ruby's also a similar character, especially in the first season, with the way that she's presented to somebody like Mitsumi, where I'm just kind of like really rooting for them and want them to have absolutely everything, especially because of like the past and the things that have kind of gone along with her. You're really, really pushing for her, or at least I was, and I'm thinking that she's probably along those lines too. But those two are definitely going to be my votes there. My coupleship of the year is Aqua and Kana. That's not even a question. It's not on here, but it's my pick of the year, easily. I think from other ones that we've seen, I think we have to go with Nakami and Maguri here. Just something about their connection was so special, and being able to watch that, I absolutely fell in love with. And I think that them having such a strong dynamic and being two characters that you really want to root for and care for and absolutely love forces you to kind of ship them even like harder together, and wanting to see them together. And while there's some other great ones here, I think the other one has to be Mitsumi and Sosuke here. I think they're so like meant to be almost, and they're just like so special together, even if they just want to be friends at the end of the day, and it doesn't fucking matter, right? And we're not pushing them there. They're just like two people that need to be together as people. Like, so even if they are just together as friends, they just need to be around each other, and they do so much for each other just by being together, that it just forces somebody to naturally, I guess, kind of want to see them together in a more romantic way. But even if that doesn't need to happen, I just ship them and their friendship totally, and I think they deserve the recognition there. A bunch of other great ones here. I'm happy to see Karane on here. Needed that. Also, like this, Rudy and Sylphie, I think, is a great one here. They did a great job at building up an entire arc that just surrounded two people, like really like finding love almost for the first time. While Rudy has like other stuff and everything that's kind of gone along with him beforehand, like him really being able to like almost be so awkward in like all these different situations, and the way that he was acting, like being around her, and kind of come to terms with like his feelings and stuff, I thought was excellent. And then like couples like Lloyd and Yor, even though they have like no development, you're always like pushing so hard for for something to kind of come out of them. Or just like Kyoka and Mio, and just like there's so many great ones here, and you really can't go wrong, I feel like, with most of them. Our best supporting boy of the year, which is going to be a difficult one for us to be able to go through. First, I'm going to go with our boy Kencho here. He is the definition of a supporting boy. Like, whether you want to say because he's a support character, or you want to say because he supports our boy Akari in like every situation that he can kind of be in, and he's like always pushing for him to go the furthest, because I mean they have to, and they each have to kind of support each other in those moments. He's just so excellent, and I absolutely love him. He really adds to that cast and makes it so special. Second, we're gonna go Guel. I really loved him by the second end of that series, and I think he kind of really came to life for me. I don't have much I want to really add on him. There's not a lot here I would say that I necessarily fell in love with or love them as characters here, where I love like Frankie, and I think Damien's like a great character, and I thought Ghetto was like really good for driving like the plot and everything forward. A lot of these other characters I just don't necessarily care for too much, they don't do too much for me, so we're just gonna kind of go with those two. Supporting character, apparently Kana's also a supporting character, because she is, so that's an easy vote. So maybe we can get the clean sweep, get her to win both awards. That'd be fantastic. I'd absolutely love that. I absolutely love Alpha, and I would love for her to kind of be on here. And I thought Rico was great, even though she was only in the first arc. A lot of the other characters, I think, are all deserving and great. Shitose was really good. I really liked her. I'm stuck between Carol and Mizusu, though. I think both of them, like, the side characters is what made Tomo-chan such a good show. Like, they really sold the show, and Carol's so above and, like, insane. Like, you love her so much, right? But at the same time, like, Mizusu, like, sold you so many times, or sold me at least so many times on the show, and she was really the thing that brought so much comedy out of it, too. And just the relationship between the two of them was so great. I think I gotta go with Mizusu, but you can't go wrong with either of them. I really wish I had another. I wish Kana wasn't here just so I could vote for Carol, but it's hard. There's great choices here, though. Next, we have the theme songs. They only put the names, and I'm not going to go through and pick them. So if I remember the name, we're going to go for it. So if you see anything on here that you like, cool. I don't remember a lot of these. Idol is fantastic. My favorite opening song is River, which is not here from Vinland Saga. So that's a little unfortunate to see. Spiral's a really good one. There's a bunch of good ones on here, but I'm not seeing the one I want to vote for. Can I play them if I, like, click the Spotify thing? Oh, shit. Okay, so that's My Happy Marriage. That's loud as hell. Alright. I don't know what the hell this show is. I don't know what that is. I'm not gonna know any of these. I don't like that show. Okay, just to make it easy, because I'm not gonna go through and listen to all of them. We're gonna go for Idol and this one. This is from Heavenly Delusion. The intro I thought was fantastic and I loved it, and Idol is fantastic as well. I'm a little unhappy that River is not on here, but I don't know all of them, and I'm not going through all the other ones. Okay, ending theme, once again, anything that I can kind of remember. This song's fantastic from the second core of Wish from Mercury. Probably would be my ending theme of the year regardless. Do I know any of these other ones? I know a couple of them, I think. Without Love's great. We're going to go Without Love. All right, we're going to go with those two. We're just going to speed through this. Next up is our Seiyu Voice Awards. First off with the male voice performances. We have some interesting ones on here. I don't know if I'm, like, wrong or, like, bugging completely, but I feel like they nominate Gojo for a lot of stuff, and I don't particularly remember, like, situations where he, like, really stands out as a voice actor, like, with his character. And also just, like, Gojo, like, himself being, like, nominated, but, like, specifically for season 2, I'm not seeing that. Like, I don't understand why. I mean, maybe they just had to, like, squeeze people in, or maybe I'm, like, misremembering stuff, but that stuff just isn't making sense to me. We're gonna go here with Yuto Imura for Thorfinn. I think, like I said before, when I talked about the voice cast overall, I thought did an excellent job at kind of bringing him out and making him such a special character. A lot of the other ones, we haven't necessarily seen a bunch of them, and I don't think stand out to me as, like, the craziest ones. I really liked him as Akira, so... Oh, we only get one vote for this one. Never mind. So I guess that's good. We don't need to worry about the other ones. All right, we're gonna go Thorfinn here for that. All right, female voice cast. We only get one as well. I talked about it before. We're going Arnade for this. There's no other choice. She absolutely destroyed the voice role, and I absolutely hate that I can only get one vote for here, because I think Sally Amaki killed the role of Carol to, like, levels that we haven't seen. This is such an excellent choice for so many of these different characters on here. I think she absolutely killed it. I think Tomoyo Kurosawa absolutely destroyed it as well for Mitsume. Her little noises and everything that she would constantly do in May. I absolutely love every character that this girl voices, I swear. I fall in love with, like, every single one. They're so good. But unfortunately, we only got one vote, and we're gonna have to go Arnave, because this girl absolutely destroyed. I gotta look up and see other things that maybe she's been a main character in or kind of voice before, because she, so good. Vivid memories of how excellent She was at pulling everything together there. Next, we have the big one. For some reason, we put movie after this, but I haven't watched a lot of movies, so it doesn't matter. Anime of the year. I'll go through each of these, and I'll talk a little bit about each of them, because they all deservingly so, I guess, are here and are nominated for certain reasons, right? So we got to go through and we got to talk about them. I'm going left to right here. Dr. Stone, New World. I've only watched Core 1, have not been able to get all the way through it. I honestly think this is the weakest part so far of Dr. Stone, in my opinion. I think it's basically more of the same with less science, and I think that just makes it a little bit less interesting, and I haven't necessarily loved the other parts, so for me, this one just falls a little flat. I wouldn't personally have nominated this if I was in charge, but I do see the appeal and why a lot of people like it, so we end up having to put it there. Second is Hell's Paradise. I would also have not nominated this if I was in charge. I did not like Hell's Paradise, like, almost at all. There's a lot of things that I kind of took, like, they just felt wrong to me and I didn't necessarily like. Some of it came down to pacing and then of changing of things from what I was told. Other things came down just the animation and stuff not being exactly up to par or in the way that I actually would like. Some of it came down to story elements and things that were presented. There's some things hit or miss for me. I didn't really like a lot of it. I have heard that the manga and everything's fantastic, especially the artwork and things, and I've seen panels, so I assume if I ever wanted to give it another shot, I probably won't, but if I do, I'll probably go to the manga instead of watching whatever else is to come within an anime format, but that won't even be in consideration for a vote for me. JJK Season 2, if you want full thoughts and everything, I have a lot of that stuff at the back end of the long video that we did for the series. Didn't absolutely love it as much as everybody else did, but it was still very, very good. Easily, by pure action standpoint, the best thing that we had all season, or not all season, but all year. And I think that they had a lot of really great elements involved in the story. I think that they had a lot of great things to narratively drive us forward for what's to come and the way that the world and things are going to kind of be setting up, and also to set characters and things up going forward. I had issue with ways that things were presented or the way that we introduced and brought in characters and did certain things with certain moments, and how certain things were kind of conveyed and delivered in those moments, which I do talk about in that video a little bit more. So I didn't necessarily love it, I think, as much as everybody else, but I think it's still very good. I can see this easily being voted by a ton of people. I can see this easily winning this award as well. No complaints there. If it did, I don't agree personally, but I can easily see somebody or a large portion of people. And I'm assuming when I get over to the Crunchyroll ones, this will probably be nominated. And I'm assuming when I get over the Crunchyroll ones, this one will probably end up winning. Which for Mercury Season 2, as they put it, but Core 2 specifically, excellent. Especially until the back end, which certain things I didn't like, but I think that we went through so much and we developed our characters in our world and a whole bunch of things so much. The pacing of it was absolutely insane, way higher than it absolutely needed to be. But they wanted to speed through and needed to get some things done, and we had to do it. It's something I would consider, it's probably top 10 favorite things I saw this year, probably at the back end of that. And it's something I think deserves the recognition, and I'm not mad at all that it's kind of here, although I don't think really has that much of a chance at kind of doing much. Oh, I could be wrong. I mean, it did win a lot of like seasonal stuff as that was kind of going along from the previous year, so who actually knows. Mushoku Tensei Season 2 I absolutely loved as well, especially the second arc. The first arc I had a lot of complaints were hit or miss at certain moments and things that I didn't like the way that they were displayed, but it also felt like the direction of it was for them to not focus too much on that and kind of speed through it as much as they could, for whatever that reason was. Production and stuff was a little bit off in comparison to the first season, but I think that the narrative and the story that they built up going to the Magic Academy and everything was so excellent that made me really bring back the feelings and stuff that I love so much from the first season while being entirely distinct and different. And I think that that's great. And I'm not necessarily mad it's up here, but don't know, I guess, how deserving in a way it actually should be. My Happy Marriage, I'm happy to see it get some recognition here, and I'm happy about that. I fell out of love with it by the second half of the season, unfortunately, but I think that the start of it was so strong, and I think it is a unique enough thing, and it's a fun watch for a lot of people, I think, to kind of get into. So while I don't think it'd be a contender, I mean, I guess if we're being honest, we have to pick like 15 or 20 of these, like if they have up, like I think it makes sense that it's honestly up here. I guess with a lot of the others where I said I wouldn't necessarily understand or agree with it really being here, I think a lot of it actually makes sense that it is. I just probably wouldn't have it on mine, and maybe it would have snuck in the back end. Who knows? Moving over Oshinoko with our next one. This is a part of, I'd say, the big four, as I had like 4 shows this year that I was really in love with and I thought were really, really excellent. This would be one of them. This is one that I think deserves tons of recognition, tons of praise. This is one I can easily see winning the award. This is one that I can easily just, I don't know. I'm so excited for season 2 specifically. As a manga reader, knowing the things that go down, and it covers probably my 2 favorite arcs of the series. I'm just so excited for what else is to come. Although this is season 1, and I think season 1 had great material for it to kind of go over. Spy Family season 2, I don't got much to say because I have not finished it, so I can't really speak on that too much. Heavenly Delusion, a part of my other big 4 of the ones that I thought was phenomenal this season. Or this year, once again, I keep saying season for whatever reason. It's so good. It's really, really excellent. I recommend anybody who hasn't seen it, give it a chance. It's literally like Promise Neverland, but like significantly better in my opinion. I've read the Promise Neverland manga as well, so I feel like I can say that if I want, and I think it's a lot better than whatever Promise Neverland was able to kind of present, especially in its first season. If we're comparing season 1 to season 1, I think it's significantly better. It has a lot different elements to it as well. It's animated incredibly well. The characters are so full of life and so enjoyable. There's some moments it gets really dark at moments. There's some really emotional moments. There's some sweet, some great comedic moments. They nail almost everything that kind of gets presented to it. It's a shame I feel like I didn't vote for it enough on things, but it's so good. 100 Girlfriends, I think, is absolutely hilarious. One of the funniest shows, if not the funniest show that we ended up watching this year. And I mean, it kind of stops at that, but the romance and stuff's not too bad within it. It's not your standard type of stuff, especially going harem and straight parody and over the top things, but it's incredibly fun. It's just a fun watch. If you can mesh with the style of what the show's trying to present, you're going to probably love it. Angel Next Door, didn't absolutely love this one. I thought it was decent enough. I can understand why people love it and really took the liking to it. It just wasn't it for me entirely. I thought it was a little bit weaker than some of the other things that have been presented and shown here. And I don't really have too much I guess want to go into and say. Dangers in My Heart, I thought had a excellent last like 6 or so episodes, like phenomenal, all of them. But the first like 5 or 6 were very tough to get through. They were kind of cringe in ways. They were kind of just unentertaining to me. Just a lot of things I didn't love right off the start, but everyone kept saying it got better, and it absolutely got better as it kept going along. So I don't love this as much as everyone else does, but I think it is an excellent watch and something, especially if you can get through that first half no issue. It's a great thing to go into, and I'm very excited. I haven't been able to start, but very excited to go into season 2 and kind of see what's there for us, as I think that we're really going to start hitting its stride here and start really getting into something special, maybe with development wise. We can only hope, but who actually knows? Eminence in Shadow, watched the first season. I wasn't able to finish the second season just yet. Absolutely loved the first season. Not too much more I really want to say about it. Magical Revolution, have not been able to watch that, so we can skip through that. Tomo-chan is a Girl, fantastic, very funny. The ending, I think, kind of sucked, if I'm being honest. It was just an extra episode that was completely unnecessary. I think that we should have ended it one prior and it would have been perfect. We would have had no issues there at all, but it was great. The side characters really do carry the story, though. While I didn't care too much for the relationship between our main 2, Tomo is a fun character to kind of see, and the different things in the way that the side characters and stuff interact and act with her. I think it's really fun and definitely worth the watch. I wouldn't necessarily consider it, like, quality-wise or anything better than, like, a lot of the ones, even if I dislike them or wasn't like the biggest fan, like My Happy Marriage and JJK and stuff like that, right? But I got a lot of enjoyment just out of watching it overall, and I think that it's something that at least deserves some sort of recognition, whether Anime of the Year recognition, who knows, but it deserves something, and definitely should have been awarded for some things, as it was with comedy. Next we go into Vinland Saga season 2. Vinland Saga is phenomenal. Season 2 is a masterpiece in my opinion. So good. Absolutely everything was nailed. I absolutely love basically taking characters and just stripping them of everything inside of them back to their core almost, and making them kind of find themselves again. And that's essentially what happens here. And they also ramp that and so much other stuff going on up to like 15, and it's so phenomenal. Please watch the series if you haven't, like, please. Last on here, Psalm 100. We haven't finished it. We only got a couple done because we got up to what, episode 9, and then they decided the last like 3 or 4 were going to be on hiatus and until like end of December, and I just haven't gotten around to them yet. I'm probably going to finish that in the next like 2 or 3 weeks, maybe I'll probably get around to it and actually sit down and watch it. So I don't feel comfortable enough voting for something I haven't completely finished, but I can see why, and I absolutely have loved everything I've watched so far of it, and I don't think it's missed at any sort of moment yet. So I'm very excited to see how they kind of wrap up, especially because it seemed like we were entering a new arc when they decided to stop. So I think this is something that's worth the watch, especially now that it all is out. It's very funny, it's very chaotic, it has some really interesting ideas and things that at least you can kind of think about and take serious if you want, but for the most part don't really have to, and it can just sit back and just be something that you laugh about and just see how crazy things can kind of get. It's a fun twist on the zombie apocalypse that hasn't really happened, I feel like, in a lot of other forms of media. So I think this is really, really excellent. With that said, we only get one vote. I think it's pretty obvious where I'm going. We're going to go Vinland Saga Season 2. I've praised the series enough and said all these things. This is the only series on this list I gave a 10 out of 10 to. It's one of, what, like 6 or 7, I think, of animes that I've ever seen that I've given that rating to. It was an absolute journey for us to be able to watch on the channel. If you want to go back, all those reactions are out as well. It's so, so special. I really wish I spent a little bit more time going into each episode and like talking about certain things and was able to like vocalize myself a little bit more, like have something out that I want to like say, maybe not pre-written, but like just thought out a little bit more of what I wanted to say and how I wanted to present it in those videos. So I am a little unhappy with that, but nonetheless was very excited to kind of just go through and watch everything with everyone. And I think it's phenomenal. I think everything presented in it is so, so excellent. And it's the type of story I just love personally. So I think that for me, it just was easy enough for it to kind of hit and connect. I think it's just above and beyond everything that got put here. And yeah, that's going to be my anime of the year. Last, we have movie of the year, which there's not a lot that I've seen. I don't watch a lot of movies, I got to be honest with you. I've seen 2 of the ones on here. I've seen the Laid Back Camp movie. I've seen Love is War, First Kiss That Never Ends. Those are the 2 things I've seen on here. I know there's a bunch of these other ones that have gone to like streaming platforms and stuff that I can watch, just haven't gotten around to things. Maybe I'll start doing some movie reactions and stuff, who knows. But I haven't really gotten around to a ton of them. So between these 2, all I can say is I rated each of them the exact same. I absolutely loved each of these movies. I thought they were fantastic. I thought this was much needed and as peak as it gets within the Kaguya series. I think in terms of comedy and stuff, all that stuff peaks in season 3, which is particularly why I think like how grand it almost was. Everyone loved it for that reason, but I love the almost simplistic, like strip back, wanting to like figure out real selves and stuff of this, like in the way that we use masking and stuff within that series, or within specifically, I guess, this movie. But it's been a constant theme throughout the entirety of the series, and I think that they do an excellent job and bring us to a great conclusion by the back end of it. That makes me absolutely fall in love with the series and think that it's great. The Laid Back Camp movie did a great job at time skipping, but also making things feel like they are the exact same almost. It's basically like the last big bang of what we were going to get, as the series is now moving on to a new studio for the 3rd season, and they've changed around character design and everything, and some things are looking off to me, right? We're going to get around to watching it at some point, and we'll see how we're feeling and if we get used to it, but it's like the last mark that we're almost going to have fully anime original of this studio cessation going at it and kind of giving it their all almost, to create something so special and give you that feeling. While I think it's probably the weakest portion of the series behind season 1 and 2, it's still so phenomenal, like of how, I don't know, it's just, I love the characters and just everything about that series, and I can't recommend you go watch that enough. I really can't. Laid Back Camp is such a special series, especially to me. I think it's so, I don't know, it's so good. I love it. It's such a comfy and cozy time, just to watch it, especially like late nights, like middle of the winter. It just it hits right. With that said, though, I gotta go with First Kiss That Never Ends for Love is War. We watched that here on the channel, so you can go back and see some of that stuff. But it was so good. I think so much of it is presented in ways, and I think even at the end I struggled to like fully comprehend and like understand things. I have since rewatched it, and I think it's just even better now that I'm like knowing what to look for and not feeling certain ways and kind of like think about things and view them in different ways. And I think it's the most like we've really gone into characters and allowing you to kind of like dissect them and understand them as people that we have. And I think within the series at least. And I think that's such a good thing that even at this point within the story, like halfway through the manga, basically, they were able to still push us to like climax once again and like hit another moment like this. That's entirely a different pacing almost than the rest of the series. And I think that was so excellent. To wrap on that, all of our anime awards for the Anime Trending 2023 awards. The award show I think airs the end of like February or something usually. So if anybody wants to actually watch it out, that stuff's kind of coming out. It's very fun just to kind of go through and do these things and give some thoughts. It's not as I've gone through and like done it now. I didn't kind of lay out thoughts and stuff as much and focus on each individual series and different aspects as much as I feel like I almost would like, which makes me think I kind of want to do like a tier list or something where I just at least give each series some time where I can talk about the things I liked and didn't like of them. So I might go into that. Let me know if you enjoy like this type of content or just me like sitting around talking about things. I feel like stuff like this will be kind of enjoyable to some people who are interested. I mean, I like watching people kind of rank things and go through things and like vote on things. So if there's other people out there who are similar enough to me, I feel like this could be something that you can enjoy a little bit. Let me know though. Leave in the comments. Did you agree with any of the things that I said? Did you disagree? Would you have voted for things entirely different? Do you think I'm just dumb for my thoughts and opinions and everything? Is there anything on here that you haven't actually watched that maybe I praised or said some good things about or voted for that you want to kind of check out now as a result? I don't know. Let me know. And I'd be interested. Is there things that I haven't seen on here that I didn't end up voting for that you think that I should go back and actually watch that's really is worthy of the nomination and stuff that I was able to get that I wasn't actually around for to be able to do? Let me know. I'd be interested to see what a lot of people end up thinking, and if there is stuff out there that I really felt like or really have others feel like I missed throughout the last season or the last year. If you liked it all, hit the like and subscribe. They mean a lot to me. Feel free to check out the other videos on the channel. We're going to go do the Crunchyroll ones right now. So if you're more interested in those, or if you are just interested in those as well, go check that out as well. Thank you very much once again for joining. I will be back for some reactions and the Crunchyroll one very soon. If there's anything you want to see me watch or whatever, leave any comments about that stuff as well, as we're going into the 2024 year, and there's plenty of things coming up. The spring season seems absolutely stacked. I don't think there's any sort of way I'm going to be able to balance everything that's coming out. So unfortunately, I'm going to have to make some cuts there, but I have been looking towards what's going to be coming and the things that we're going to be doing there. So excited for a lot of that. I got a lot of shows and things we got to finish up on the channel here still. And then hopefully we can get into some older stuff because the winter season's kind of weak in my opinion. And I don't have a lot of interest in a lot of the shows that are out. And some of the ones I've watched a few episodes of and I don't really love and don't really want to continue or whatever. So we're going to be going a little bit further into doing that. So maybe some older stuff will kind of come in the fold for the next couple months. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed. Have a good one. Peace.